Hey guys, welcome back for another video. This is going to be a first experience for me as far as doing EasyBEQ, and I'm just going to have some fun with it and see what happens. Honestly, this is just an excuse to buy a Raspberry Pi because I've always wanted one and I never had a really good use for one, but this one looks like a little bit of fun. So really quick, in a nutshell, there are awesome videos out there for what BEQ is all about and how to use it. This is about the EZBEQ, which is an add-on to it. In a nutshell, BEQ boosts the ultra-low bass on a per movie basis to bring back the signal in the single digits, the teens, and the very low 20s. This is a kit I got for under 100 bucks, and it includes almost everything you need. You've got the Raspberry Pi, it's the latest model, and it's inside this nice aluminum case. It's got a heatsink on the inside. You've got an on-off power switch, power cord, the HDMI connection that'll go out to our screen, and we're just using this for the initial setup. You don't need that connected once it's going. Nice little quick start guide, and you do need a wired keyboard and mouse. If you're like me and you don't use those kinds of things anymore, this kit was under 10 bucks. And that's everything you need to actually set this up. Now the procedure is very long, it's complicated, and I'll put a link down to the instructions below. It's basically just setting up the Raspberry Pi, updating the software, downloading the EasyBEQ software, getting it connected and running on your network, yada, yada, yada. But there's a lot of steps. This video isn't a complete how-to, and it changes from time to time. So check the link down below for the current instruction set. And I'll put a link down to this kit if you just want to make one easy purchase like me, and you're done. So this part is very important. Here in MiniDSP, open up the actual program. You want to verify two things. One, this whole BEQ process installs on the input PEQs, meaning you can't have any of your own because it's going to overwrite everything. This is where it does its magic, on the input side. So as long as you have these blank on your configs, you're good to go. Now some people may be using these right now as their house curve. You know, you might be bumping up the low end here on the input PEQ. And if so, you're going to have to transfer that and redo your curve and put it on the output PEQs. Everything here gets completely bypassed as far as BEQ. It's untouched. So all of your house curve and all of your correction, all of your gain, delays, and all that is untouched because that's all on the output. So don't worry about that. The other important thing is you need to make a backup, and this isn't for safety. It's because whenever you come back to this after running the BEQ, it's not going to know what's going on. It's going to see that something changed and it needs a backup file to continue. So you just go File, Save, and save your configuration, and then you'll be okay. What I'm going to do is, config 2 is the one I mainly run. Config 1 is basically when I'm testing things, and I don't use 3 and 4 at all in my configuration. But what I'm going to do is load my config 2, my basic config, into all of the other slots. So that way I can just pick a slot, basically, it doesn't matter, in BEQ, and I know that all of my settings are going to be in all of them, no matter which one I pick. Okay, got everything connected. This is, again, just temporary until everything is installed and running, and then it'll just get tucked away, and it will only be connected to power and the MiniDSP via this USB cable. So I've got it connected via HDMI to the back of my AVR and to my keyboard and mouse. And now we're going to boot it up. Now we should see, because this card that it comes with has noobs installed already on it, we should see it boot up and give us the option to install an operating system. And I'm just going to put on the latest version of Raspbian, which should be Buster. And okay, it's working. So I'm going to go ahead and install and get the Raspberry Pi actually running, and then we'll download and install EasyBEQ, get it configured. Then we can unhook and do everything from our tablet or phone or anywhere on the network. You can do this either via Wi-Fi or you can do it on Ethernet. Since this is only going to be pulling down updates to the EQ when new movies and shows come out, I don't need it wired in Ethernet, so I'm just running it off my Wi-Fi. No big deal. So the OS installed, took a while to download, took a while with a blank screen to install. Don't be alarmed, takes a couple minutes, and now it's just downloading auto updates. Updates are done. That took just about an hour. Now I went and downloaded and installed the actual plugin that connects to the MiniDSP. Now I set up Python and installed EasyBEQ, which is the web interface for the plugin. And while you're doing all the config and setup steps, it's easy just to bring up a browser with the install instructions that are linked down below right here on the Raspberry Pi. And that way you can just copy and paste all the actual commands right in so you don't have to type and mess things up. Another important thing you need to do is set a static IP. I'll put instruction links down below for actually doing it on the Raspberry Pi. It's pretty easy. It's just modifying a couple files, and you also have to do it in your router. And then once you get that done, you can go to whatever IP you chose on another device. Here I am on the iPad, and we can see that we are connecting into it, so it is working. Now what I'm going to do is set it so it automatically loads with the operating system, so we'll never have to touch the interface on the Raspberry Pi again. And now we're all done after a fresh reboot to test. Reloaded the site on the iPad, and it still works. And now we're done with the Raspberry Pi. I can go ahead and tuck it away and just leave the one USB connection to the MiniDSP. Don't need the mouse, keyboard, or HDMI anymore. So we shut down either through the menu or the command line. Then, once it's powered down, unplug everything, put it in, power it back up, give it about 30 seconds, actually boots pretty quickly, and we'll be able to connect back through any device. So now all you have to do is pull up this, just bookmark it, and this is your interface. So you can do it on your phone, you can do it on your tablet or any computer on your local network. So totally fine to whip up my phone or tablet, pull up this one website, and we're good to go. All we have to do is search for whatever we're going to be watching, and it's updated pretty quickly. So a new movie that came out yesterday, The Tomorrow War, is already in here. So we just select it. We can see the info about it, verify that it's the soundtrack that we want. In this case, it's streaming only, and it's in Dolby Digital Plus Atmos, which is a compressed Atmos. Actually, it sounds really good. I'm surprised that this is making as much of a difference to the graph as it is. This is an optional set input gain checkbox, and if it is available, they do recommend that you select it, and that's just going to also alter the gain of the input, and it should be okay. I mean, unless you're running everything super hot, but it shouldn't be that big of a deal. So this is what it's going to be doing to this movie. We can see that the dashed line is where it actually is, and you can see it's falling up pretty steeply at about 30. Still pretty strong down into the 20s, but then virtually nothing in the teens, and completely dead at 10, down -60, -50 at 20. So I mean, there's a lot to be gained there. Some movies are way worse than this. They'll start dipping down at 40. Some are a complete drop off. Some are a lot better than this. Some are just, they're right up there, and it may not even be noticeable. But you can see that the solid line is what they take it to. So you're gaining all that back, all down into the single digits. That's where those of us with great transducers are going to benefit, and then into the teens and 20s. And that's where everyone with great subs is going to benefit. So that's what it's going to do. And this is their heat map. This is basically visually showing you how much and where the base is. More color, the better, basically. So all we have to do, this is just info, you don't need to do anything with it. Check the box if it's there, click upload, and it'll upload it into whatever the selected slot you have. Now remember, I copied and pasted my final settings into all 4 slots, so it doesn't matter whatsoever. But maybe there's a series that you're watching all the time. You can leave that in one slot, put a different movie or something else into the other slots, whatever you want to do. It's up to you. By tapping it, you're actually changing which is the active profile on the MiniDSP, 1, 2, 3, or 4, and that's all there is to it. As soon as that's uploaded, you can watch. If you want to clear it and just go right back to the way you had your MiniDSP before, you just click the X. When they all say empty, that's it. Totally normal. So basically it's pull it up, search for the name, hit upload, and play your movie. Super simple. So I hope this guide was helpful. If you're on the fence, or maybe you've only used the old versions of BEQ, which I was in that camp and it was just too much of a hassle to connect your laptop and go through all that rigmarole just to watch a movie, forget that. Now you can see how easy it is. Yes, the install definitely takes some time. Yes, it can be a little complicated, but this was my first time. Not a big deal. There are enough guides on the internet to walk you through just about anything. And again, everything is linked down below that I used and went through, so you can easily do it. That's it. See you next time.